Imagine being trapped in a world where the rules are twisted so completely that sanity itself becomes a crime, and escaping it means obeying the very system that oppresses you. Where bureaucracy is a weapon, logic is a joke, and survival depends not on skill or courage but on navigating absurdity without losing your mind. Joseph Heller imagined such a world, and in Catch-22, he turns it into a darkly comic masterpiece. Published in 1961, Catch-22 drops us into the chaos of World War II through the eyes of Captain John Yassarian, a U.S. Army Air Force's bombardier stationed on the small island of Pianosa in the Mediterranean. Yassarian is obsessed with one thought: staying alive. Every mission he flies could be his last, yet the military bureaucracy relentlessly demands that he continue. Here enters the infamous Catch-22. A paradoxical rule stating that any airman who is crazy enough to want to avoid combat duty is considered sane and therefore must fly missions, while anyone who willingly flies them is by definition insane. There is no loophole, no escape, no rational solution, only endless circular logic designed to trap and frustrate. Heller's novel is a scathing critique of the absurdity of war, the dehumanization of individuals by institutions, and the sheer futility of trying to reason within systems built on contradictions. Unlike traditional war novels that glorify heroism or present linear narratives, Catch-22 employs a fragmented, non-linear structure, moving in time and space in a way that mirrors the chaos of its world. Episodes repeat, perspectives shift, and characters' fates intertwine in unpredictable ways. This narrative style immerses readers directly into the insanity of Yassarian's environment, where logic fails and absurdity reigns supreme. The characters in Catch-22 are as memorable as the title itself. There's Milo Minderbinder, the mess officer turned war profiteer, who builds a sprawling black market empire under the guise of serving the army, Doc Danica, who manipulates regulations to avoid danger, and Colonel Cathcart, obsessed with promotion and the number of missions his men must fly. Each character embodies a different facet of institutional absurdity: greed, self-preservation, ambition, and each challenges the notion of morality in a system that rewards compliance over conscience. Heller's genius lies in balancing satire with tragedy. We laugh at their follies while feeling the weight of their suffering. Catch-22 is also a novel about fear and courage, though not in traditional heroic terms. Yassarian's desire to survive is painted as rational, yet the very act of survival becomes morally complex when weighed against comrades, duty, and principle. Heller asks whether it is possible to retain humanity in a world that actively dehumanizes, whether sanity can coexist with madness, and whether ethical choices have meaning in the face of systemic absurdity. The paradox at the center of the novel, the Catch-22 itself, extends beyond the military, symbolizing the circular, self-perpetuating contradictions present in bureaucracies, governments, and even everyday life. The novel's dark humor is essential. Heller's comedic approach does more than entertain, it sharpens the critique. Absurd situations, like soldiers punished for not reporting illnesses that might exempt them from duty, highlight the cruelty hidden behind rules, policies, and hierarchies. The humor underscores the tragedy. We laugh, but the laughter is uneasy, because the absurdity is painfully real. Heller captures the psychological strain of war, the alienation of individuals, and the subtle horrors that arise not from enemy action but from the internal machinery of the military. Challenged and banned in some schools and libraries during the 1960s and 1970s for its language, sexual references, and anti-authoritarian stance, Catch-22 unsettled readers who expected traditional patriotism or clear-cut heroism. Some critics called it obscene, others called it un-American. Yet its very censorship speaks to the enduring relevance of Heller's message. Societies often resist confronting the uncomfortable truths embedded in their own systems. Today, Catch-22 resonates in more ways than one. Its themes of bureaucracy, moral compromise, and systemic absurdity remain profoundly relevant. Modern workplaces, governmental institutions, and even legal systems can feel Kafkaesque, echoing the experiences of Yassarian and his peers. In a world filled with circular regulations, contradictory policies, and power structures that punish initiative while rewarding compliance, Heller's satire continues to strike a nerve. Beyond military critique, the novel serves as a reminder to question authority, challenge irrationality, and recognize the human cost of blind obedience. Heller also explores the tension between individual survival and social responsibility. Yossarian's instinct is to protect his own life, yet he cannot entirely ignore the suffering around him. The novel repeatedly probes the question, what is the ethical way to act when every option seems unjust or doomed? By placing morality within an absurd system, Heller forces readers to confront uncomfortable choices, prompting reflection on the compromises we accept in our own lives, often invisible yet pervasive. Catch-22 is more than a war story, it is a meditation on the fragility of sanity in absurd circumstances. Its narrative brilliance lies in combining biting satire with deep philosophical inquiry. Heller's prose, while often comedic and fragmented, never loses emotional resonance. Characters feel real, their fears tangible, their frustrations painfully human. The tension between humor and horror, absurdity and truth, is what gives the novel its enduring power and universal relevance. Ultimately, the novel leaves readers with questions that linger long after the last page. How much absurdity should we tolerate before we resist? Can we find meaning in a system designed to destroy logic? Is survival a moral victory, or merely a continuation of the trap? Heller does not offer easy answers. Instead, he challenges us to navigate our own catch-22s, those paradoxes and contradictions embedded in institutions, relationships, and society itself. In the end, Catch-22 is a mirror held up to humanity's struggles with power, obedience, and reason. It reminds us that the absurd is often not far from reality, that systems can ensnare us in ways both subtle and catastrophic. And it asks us, in the face of irrational authority and endless rules, how we preserve our integrity, sanity, and compassion. So the question Heller leaves us with is both simple and terrifying. When the rules are designed to trap you, the logic itself is a weapon. How do you survive without surrendering your humanity?